Hello students, welcome once more to online class for ICSE Class 10th Computer Applications. Today we are going to study about the Java programs on loops. There are three main types of Java programs related on loops. First is the programs on numbers. It covers prime numbers, perfect numbers, automorphic numbers, neon number, Armstrong number, SPI number. There are many types of numbers. Second type of program is pattern printing, and third type of program is programs on series. Since the chapter is very wide, we cannot cover all the programs in one video. In this video, I would like to cover only the programs related with some numbers. So at the end of this session, you would be able to understand what is nested loop and the programs on nested loop. Then we will come to the programs on numbers like factorial of a number, prime number, composite number, perfect number, palindrome number and neon number. So starting with what is nested loop. Loop we have already covered in the previous video, for while and do while. Nested loop is the loop inside another loop. Just like we have studied nested if. A loop within another loop is called nested loop. In some cases, it is required to construct such loops. It can be applied when internal loop repeats for a given number of times for each iteration of external loop. Nested loop may be designed using for, while, do while statement. In nested loop, inner loop must terminate before the outer loop. So whenever you are going to design a nested loop, there are three loops that we have covered. That there will be two loops. One will be the outer, second will be the inner. Outer loop can have any of these three loops, for, while and do while. Inner also can have any of these three loops, for, while and do while. So depending on the problem and depending on your flexibility, you are free to use any loop as outer loop, any loop as inner loop. Same program can be designed with for, while or do while. So in whichever loop you are familiar, you can use that loop. There is no boundation of using a particular loop for a particular program. So to understand nested loop, first we will see a program. Write a program in Java to accept lower limit and upper limit and display first 10 multiples of all the numbers from lower limit to upper limit. Sample is given here. Suppose lower limit is 5 and upper limit is 7. So we need to print first 10 multiples of all the numbers from 5 to 7. That is table of 5, table of 6 and table of 7. First 10 multiples. Sample is given already here. In this we will study about the nested loop. Before the nested loop, you should know outer loop covers the number of rows and inner loop covers the number of columns. In this sample you can see there are 3 rows, 5, 6 and 7. And there are 10 elements in each row, means 10 multiples. So outer loop we need to cover 3 times because we have 3 rows, and inner should be running 10 times because every outer loop must have 10 multiples, or you can say 10 columns in each row. So starting with the program. In that program I will explain the working of this. Question you have already seen. So first we need to take two inputs, lower limit and upper limit. L for lower limit, U for upper limit. Since we need to cover two loops, I will cover outer loop and j will cover inner loop. Since we have designed the program with function argument, so after taking the input, first we need to display what is the lower limit and upper limit. After printing it, we will display a message first 10 multiples equal to. So these three messages will be displayed in the beginning of the program. Then our logic will start. Suppose outer loop is running from 5 to 7. L is 5 and U is 7. So start I with L, that is 5, and it will end at 7. And we need to cover 7, so equality is used, I less than or equal to U. So starting with 5 going up to 7, I plus plus. It means this loop will run 3 times, 5, 6 and 7. So we will get 3 rows. Outer loop covers rows. Now, for every value of I, suppose first time I is 5, then inner loop will run 10 times. You can see here, j is starting from 1 going up to 10, j plus plus. Since every row should have 10 columns, so inner loop should run 10 times, 1 to 10. So suppose I is 5 first time, then for I equal to 5, it will run 10 times from 1 to 10. So when j is 1, 1 is less than or equal to 10, condition is true. Then body of the loop will run. First statement after the for is the body. So I into j. So when I is 5 and j is 1. So 5 into 1, that is 5 will print, and comma will be added on the right side. Since we have used print here, so after printing 5 and comma, cursor will remain in the same line. When body is over, then j will update, it will become 2. For 2 also j is satisfied. So next time I is still 5, so 5 into 2, that is 10. 10 will print to the right side of 5, and after 10 again we will have comma. So we have got two elements 5 and 10 in the same line. So same process will repeat for other values of j. So all the 10 multiples of 5 will get printed in the same line. And after printing 10 multiples, when j will become 11, then 11 is less than or equal to 10, that is false. So this loop will terminate. So this line will not execute. Then it will go to the next line. It will change the line. So cursor will come to new line. Now the body of outer loop will be over. So when I was 5, we had seen j has executed 10 times, and we have got the table of 5 in the same line. Then after printing the next line, when cursor will go to new line, outer loop's body will be over, then it will go to update. Now I will become 6. For 6 also, it is less than or equal to 7 when the input is 5 and 7. So again same process will repeat 10 times for I equal to 6. So we will get table of 6. Again line will change. Then when I will become 7, again it will go inside the body. So this time table of 7 will get printed, and then line will change. Now after the body is over, now I will become 8. Now 8 is less than or equal to 7, that is false. So loop has executed 3 times, outer loop, 5, 6, 7, and we have got table of 5, 6, 7. Now see the result. Five and 7 I have entered as lower and upper limit. Now you can see the result. Table of 5, 6, 7. Suppose we change the value of L and U. So this time I am entering different value. Suppose it is 10 to 17. Now you can see table of 10 to 17 is printed. See the working of this program. I have already explained the working, but once more you can see the working. Before that, variable description, L and U is the lower and upper limit, I and J is the loop variable. This working is very important to understand the nested loop. Now the logic and working is on my computer screen. Suppose L is 5 and U is 6. So we want to print the table of 5 and 6. So first time when I is 5, 5 is less than or equal to 6. That is true. Here you can see. When it is true, it will go to the body of inner loop. Sorry, body of outer loop here. When it goes inside, now the inner loop will start. This inner loop will run 10 times from 1 to 10. For that I have designed when J is 1, is less than or equal to 10, that is true. Then it will go to the body. We are printing I into J. So I is 5 and J is 1. So 5 into 1, that is 5. After printing 5, because of comma and because of print, cursor will remain in the same line. And then update. When J is updated, it will become 2. So here you can see when J is 2. Again same process will repeat. So this time I will be multiplied with new value of J, that is 2. So 5 into 2, 10 we will get. Same process will run 10 times, but I will not change. So for every value of I, J will run 10 times. So when I is 5, we will get table of 5. When J will be 11, then loop will be over. When loop will be over, then because of this println, cursor will go to new line. And when the body will be over, then I will update. So second iteration of I starts here. This time I is 6. 6 is less than or equal to 6, that is true. Again it will go inside the body of outer loop and inside the body of outer loop, inner loop will run 10 times, same as above. So this time we will get the table of 6. After the inner loop will be over, cursor will go to new line. Now I will update third iteration of I. When I is 7, 7 is less than or equal to 6 is false. So I, that is outer loop, will be over and our program will be over. So that is the working of this program. Now we will see the second program. Write a menu-driven program to accept a number from the user and check whether it is prime number or not, and find the factorial of that number. So here we need to take a number from the user and check whether prime or not and find the factorial. Since it is menu-driven program, whenever in question it is mentioned design menu-driven program or switch case program or user's choice program, always design the program with switch case. So here two options are given for us. First to check for prime number and second to find the factorial of the number. So we need to create two cases here. Whenever you deal with the programs on numbers, you don't need to learn the definition of the number. It will be given in the question, like here. Prime number is the number which has two factors, 1 and itself, and factorial of a number is obtained by multiplying all the natural numbers from 1 up to that number. Suppose we want to find factorial of 5. In that case, we need to multiply all the numbers from 1 up to 5. So this multiplication can be done in two ways. In ascending order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 can be multiplied, or in descending order, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 can be multiplied. In both the cases, we will get same result. So now starting the program. Since it is a menu-driven program, we need to design the program with scanner class or buffer reader. After class and method, see the variables first. Ch will store the choice of the user. I loop variable. In n we will accept the number from the user. C is initialized with 0. That is required to count the factors of n. To find the prime number, we need to count factors. That is why C is taken. And to find the factorial of a number, F variable is taken. Here we need to multiply all the numbers from 1 up to that number. So whenever you want to multiply all the numbers in a variable, always initialize the variable with 1. And whenever you want to count or find the sum in a variable, then always initialize the variable with 0. So create a scanner object and give a message to ask a number from the user. Since in both the cases we need a number from the user. In switch case program, when you think that same number is required in both the cases, then it is better to accept the number in the beginning. If in case 1 we have different input and in case 2 we have different input, in that case we will take the input inside the case. But here same number is used in both the cases, so I have taken it in the beginning. So after taking the number, then we will display menu to the users. Menu depends on the question. First we need to find prime number and second to find factorial of the number. So give a clear message like press 1 to check prime number, Press 2 to find factorial of the number. Enter your choice. So when you run the code, these three messages will appear as menu. So users will enter either 1 or 2. 1 is for checking prime number. Now we will store the choice in a variable ch. Now design the switch case structure. We need to create two cases. Case 1 is for prime number. So here the logic is, suppose the input is 3. So we need to find how many factors are possible for 3. Since factors of any number starts with 1 and the number itself is also a factor, so our loop will start from 1 and it will go up to n, 1 to n. So if the value of n is 3, our loop will run 3 times, 1, 2 and 3. So we have to find out what are the factors of 3 among the numbers 1, 2 and 3. So when I is 1, 1 is less than or equal to 3, condition is true. Now if n modulus I equal to 0, it means if 3 is divisible by I, that is 1. So in this case it is satisfied, 3 is divisible by 1. Then the body of if will run C++. It means first factor we have found. So C will increment. In the beginning C was 0. Now C will become 1. Now the body is over. Since 1 divides the number 3, so we have got one factor. Now I will become 2. 2 is also less than or equal to 3. So in the body, this time if condition fails, 3 modulus 2 equal to 0 is false, because 3 is not divisible by 2. So 2 is not a factor. So this statement will not run. So C will remain 1 as it is. Now when the body is over, I will update to 3. Again 3 is less than or equal to 3. Satisfied. This time 3 modulus 3 is 0. Satisfied. So C++. In previous case we had C equal to 1. So 1 plus plus will become 2. After the body again update, I will become 4. This time 4 is less than or equal to 3, that is false. So loop will be over. So here we have seen when the value of n is 3, our loop will run 3 times, that is 1, 2 and 3. But only 1 will divide 3 and 3 will divide 3. 2 will not divide 3. So we will get 2 factors of 3. That is why C will increment 2 times, we will get C equal to 2. So when the body is over, then the logic. If C is 2, it means the number has 2 factors. It proves that it is prime. So we will display it is prime number. Otherwise, it is not a prime number. That is the first logic. Now to find the factorial of the number. For that, we have designed case 2. To find the factorial, suppose the number is 4, n equal to 4. So what we have to do? We need to multiply all numbers starting from 1 going up to 4. That is why this loop has started from 1 and it is going up to n. So when n is 4, it will go up to 4. And between 1 and 4, it will cover all the numbers. So this loop will run 4 times. Value of I will be 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now we have two options here. We can multiply the numbers in ascending order 1, 2, 3, 4, or we can multiply the numbers in descending order For descending order, we can use the reverse loop. Comment I have used here. Any one loop can be used here. So when you use reverse loop, then start I with n and I will go up to 1 and I minus minus. So when I is 4, it will start with 4, it will go up to 1 and every time it will decrement the value. So we will get 4, 3, 2 and 1. Now when I is 1, 1 is less than or equal to 4, satisfied, then the body of this for loop will run f equal to f into I. In the beginning f is 1, so f equal to 1 into 1. So we will get 1. Now update I will become 2. This time 2 is less than or equal to n. Satisfied. So again body will run f equal to f into I. So previously we had f equal to 1, but this time value of I is 2. So here we will get 1 into 2, that is 2. So f will update to 2. Again once more update, that is 3. Now 3 is less than or equal to 4. Satisfied. Again body will run f equal to previous value of f is 2. Now new value of I is 3. So 2 into 3, that is 6. One more update, I is 4. 4 is less than or equal to 4, satisfied. Once more body will run. So f equal to 6 we had got previously, 6 into new value of I 4, that is 24. So you have seen I has executed 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, and after multiplying all the 4 numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, f has become 24. Now I is 5 after update and 5 less than or equal to 4 is false. So this time loop will be over. When loop will be over, then cursor will go to statement after the body of the loop. So here we will display a message factorial of, then space here, it will be displayed as it is n. Here the value of n that we have taken as input will print, that is 4. Then equal to will print as it is, and f in the working we have seen 24. So we will get the result. And default, when user enters any choice other than 1 and 2, then wrong choice will print. That is the working. Now see the result of this code. Suppose the number is 8. If the choice is 3, then it will go to default, that is wrong choice. Suppose number is 7, we want to check prime, so it is a prime number. Suppose we want to check for 6, so 6 is not a prime number. Now to check the second case, to find factorial, suppose 4 is the number, our choice is 2, we want to find factorial of 4. So factorial of 4 is 24. Because we need to multiply all numbers from 1 up to 4, that is 1 into 2 into 3 into 4, we will get 24 as the result. Now the variable description of this code. CH is to accept the choice of the user, N to accept the natural number from the user, I loop variable, C to count the number of factors of N, F is used to store, calculate or compute product of all numbers from 1 up to N. Or here you can write to store the factorial of N. Now the working of program, once more I have explained here. Suppose for 3 we want to find the number is prime or not. In the beginning C is 0, counting is 0. Outer loop will run 3 times, that is I equal to 1 to 3. Now see, I will explain the working once more. Case 1 to check prime. Suppose n is 3, we want to check whether 3 is prime number or not. So in this case, outer loop will run 3 times, 1, 2 and 3. So you can see here first time when I is 1. 1 less than 3 true. Now if condition is also true, it means 3 is divisible by 1. That is why C will update, so C will become 1. Next time when I is 2, 2 less than 3, that is true. But if condition will become false, because 3 is not divisible by 2. So C will not update, so C will remain as it is, that is 1. Now when I is 3, 3 divides 3, that is why C will once more increment, so C will become 2. And when I is 4, 4 less than or equal to 3, loop is over. So when the loop is over, you can see we have got 2 factors, and when if condition is used, if C equal to 2, so it is satisfied. So body of if will run, we will get a message it is prime number. Similarly for case 2, to find the factorial of the number, if we want to find the factorial of 3, n is 3, f is initialized with 1. So in this case, loop will run 3 times, 1, 2 and 3. And all the numbers from 1 to 3 will get multiplied one by one. So first time when I is 1, we will get f equal to f into I, that is 1 into 1, that is 1. Now when I is 2, 2 less than or equal to 3 satisfied. So this time f equal to f into I. Here we will get the previous value of f from here, that is 1. So 1 into new value of I, that is 2. We have got 2. Third time when I is 3. So f equal to f into I. F we will take from previous step, that is 2. And 2 into 3 will become 6. And when I will become 4, then loop will be over. So like this we can understand the working of this program. Output you have already seen. Now we will see the third program. write a menu-driven program to accept a number from user and check whether it is a palindrome number or not and perfect number or not. First, we should know what is palindrome and what is perfect. A number is said to be palindrome if the number obtained after reversing is same as original number. Like, all the single digit numbers are palindrome. When you read it from left to right or right to left, it will be same. In a two-digit number, when both the digits are same, in that case, it is a palindrome. In a three-digit number, first and third digit should be same, like 141. If you read from left to right or right to left, you will get same. Now 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, that is also palindrome. Now perfect number. A number is said to be perfect if the sum of all the factors of the number other than the number itself is same as the original number. For example, from 1 to 10,000 you will get only 4 numbers as perfect numbers that I have mentioned here: 628, 496, 8128. Only these numbers are perfect numbers from 1 to 10,000. Why 6 is perfect? First we need to find the factors of 6 other than the number itself. We know that factor of 6 is 1, 2, 3 and 6. So we will not cover 6. Now we will add all the factors of 6 other than 6. That is 1 plus 2 plus 3, we will get same number as 6. 28 is also a perfect number. Now the factors of 28, that is 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 7 plus 14. 28 we will leave. So after adding, we will get 28. Now see the program of perfect number. Since again it is a switch case program, we can design with either a scanner class or buffer reader. Now see the variable first. In all the switch case program, we need to take the choice, that is ch, integer choice. We will give a message, press 1 for palindrome number, press 2 for perfect number, and to accept the choice ch. Now we need to accept a number from user. See, the same number is required in both the cases, so it is better to accept the number in the beginning. Just like previous program, accept the number in n. So n and ch is clear. These two variables are input variables. Now there are some processing variables in the program. In case 1, our objective is to find palindrome number. For that we have to reverse the number first. For reversing the number, first we need to store the same number in a variable p as a backup. Here you can see I have mentioned p equal to n in the program code to store n as backup. Because when we use while or do while loop to extract the digits, value of n will become 0. So we have to compare the reverse number with original number. That is why backup of n is stored in p. Now d. To extract each digit of the number, d is taken. R will store the reverse number. So here 0 should be initialized because here we want to add something. So whenever you add anything in a variable, always initialize the variable with 0. So P, D and S, these three variables are required to reverse the number in case 1. Now in case 2, we want to find perfect number. Perfect number is similar to how we have got the prime number. we need to find the factors of the number other than the number itself. So loop variable is required, that is I. Here we need to add all the factors. So S will store the sum of the factors. So whenever we add anything in a variable, initialize with 0. So I think variable should be clear to you. Now we will see the logic. See the logic of reversing the number. I have made the logic, so I will explain it along with the program. Its working is difficult to understand, that is why we need to see both working and code, only then it can be understood to you. So please see carefully, only then it will become clear to you. Now see the working in case 1. Our objective is to reverse the number. In the beginning, R is initialized with 0. R will store the reverse number. Suppose the input is 123. We want to reverse 123. Now our logic will start from here. P equal to n. It means we want to store value of n in P as a backup. Comment I have already written here, you can see, to store n as backup. For reversing the number, I have taken do while loop, but it is not compulsory to use only do while loop. You can use any loop for while or do while to reverse the number. So in case of do while loop, first we want to extract each digit of the number. So d equal to n modulus 10. Whenever you divide a number by 10 and take the remainder, it will extract the last digit of the number. R equal to R into 10 plus D. This is the logic to reverse the number. I will explain in the working. N equal to n by 10. Whenever you divide a number by 10, it will remove the last digit of the number. So these two lines are very important. N by 10 will remove the last digit and n modulus 10 will extract the last digit of n. So these two lines are very important. It is used in many programs. Whenever we want to extract each digit of the number to make any logic, then every time we need to write these two important lines. Modulus 10 will find the last digit, slash 10 will remove the last digit. Now we will see the working of this program. Suppose n is 123. So this loop will run 3 times. First time, since do while loop is used, it will directly go to the body. So d equal to n modulus 10. So here you can see d equal to 123 modulus 10. I have told you modulus 10 will find the last digit. So last digit of 123 is 3. So d will become 3. After that, r equal to r into 10 plus d. This is the logic to reverse. So here you can see in the beginning r is 0. So r equal to 0 into 10 plus d, that is 3. So after adding it we will get 3. Now third line, n equal to n by 10. So here n equal to 123 by 10. When you divide any number by 10, it will remove the last digit. So 3 will get removed and it will become 12. Now it will check the condition. You can write the condition in two ways. While n is not equal to 0, till the value of n is not equal to 0, this loop will run. Or second method of writing, you can write while n is greater than 0. Both are okay. So now see, up to here we have seen. Now condition is here, 12 greater than 0, that is true. So loop will run once more. Second iteration, again this body will run. Now this time d equal to n modulus 10. N is already updated to 12. So 12 modulus 10. This time last digit will become 2. Since modulus 10 extracts last digit of the number, so last digit of 12 is 2. Then r equal to r into 10 plus t. Previous value of r is 3. Here we have got r equal to 3. So 3 into 10 plus d. New value of d is 2. So 30 plus 2, that is 32. And n equal to n by 10. So 12 by 10. It will remove the last digit of 12, that is 2. We will get 1. Now it will check the condition 1 is greater than 0. That is also true. 2 times loop has executed. And third time also it will execute. This time d equal to n modulus 10, that is 1 modulus 10, that is 1. Now r equal to, previous value of r is 32, so 32 into 10 plus 1, 320 plus 1, 321. Now n equal to 1 by 10, 1 by 10 will become 0. And n greater than 0, 0 greater than 0 is false. Now the loop is over. So you can see in the beginning the number was having 3 digits. That is why our loop has executed 3 times. First time it has extracted last digit 3, second time 2, and last time 1. So after the loop has executed, you can see 123 is reversed. But in the process of reversing, whatever was our input, that is 123 was stored in n. You can see here n is 123, and here in the last iteration n has become 0. So original number has become 0. To find palindrome number, we need to compare the reverse number with original number. But original number has become 0, so how we can compare? That was the reason we had taken the backup of n in a variable p. So p stores same number 123. So here you can see, if r equal to p, r stores the reverse number, that is 321, and p stores the original number, that is 123. So when reverse number is matching with original number, only then it will print palindrome, otherwise it will go to else part to print it is not palindrome. I think working should be clear to you now. Now we will see the logic of case 2. To find the perfect number, we need to find the sum of all the factors of the number other than the number. S is initialized with 0 to store the sum of all the factors. Suppose we want to check whether 4 is perfect or not. So when n is 4, in this case, loop will run only 3 times. We need to cover all the numbers other than the number. That is why equality is not used. So I equal to 1, I less than 4, it will go up to 3. I plus plus, so 1, 2, 3, 3 times loop will run. So when I is 1, and here we need to divide n by all the values of I. So here value of n is 4. So 4 is divided by all the values of I, that is 1, 2 and 3. So when first time I is 1, if condition will become true, because 4 is divisible by 1. So in this case, s equal to s plus I. So 0 plus 1. So first factor 1 is added in s. Second time when I is 2, 2 also divides 4. 2 is also a factor. So again s equal to s plus I. S we will take from first step, that is 1. So in the previous value of s, the new factor 2 will get added. So 1 plus 2 will become 3. So first two factors 1 and 2 are added. Now when I is 3, 3 does not divide 4. So this time s will not update, it will remain 3 itself. Now when I is 4, 4 less than 3 loop is over. Now you can see s has stored 3. Now we have to compare sum of all factors with original number. So here s equal to 3 but n equal to 4. So 3 is not matching with 4. Then it will go to else part, and in the else part we can display a message. It is not a perfect number. And one default we will make, that you know. Now we will see the result of this code. To check palindrome, choice is 1. I have told you all the single digit numbers are palindrome. That is why 4 is palindrome. When we enter 9, 9 is also palindrome. Now when we enter 2 digit number like 18, when we reverse 18 we will get 81. So 18 and 81 are not same, that is why it is not a palindrome number. When we enter 88, now it is palindrome. One, two, three, two, 1. It is also palindrome. Now to check perfect number, Suppose 4 we want to check. Choice is 2 here for perfect. So it is not a perfect number. Because of factor of 4, 1 plus 2 equal to 3 other than 4 itself. So 3 is not matching with 4. Now to check 6. Six is perfect. Like this we can verify any number as perfect. 496 I had told you it is perfect. So it is showing perfect. I think it should be clear to you now. Variable description of this code. And to accept the natural number from user, P to store square of, sorry, it is for neon number. This is the description of the given program. CH and N is same as the previous code. P to store N as backup. D to extract last digit of N. R to store reverse number. I is the loop variable. S to store or calculate or compute sum of factors of N. Now one more program we will discuss. What is neon number? So here the question is, write a program to accept a number and check whether it is neon or not. A number is said to be neon if sum of the digits of the square of the number is same as the original number. For example, 9 is a neon number because square of 9 is 81 and the sum of the digits of the square, that is 8 plus 1, it is same as the original number. So for neon number, what we have to do? First we have to accept the number in a variable. Then we need to find the square of the number. And from the square of the number, whatever we have got, we need to extract each digit of the number and add them in a variable to find the sum. Then this sum we will compare with original number. If it is matching, then neon, otherwise not neon. Now see the program. Same do while loop I have used to explain the working. First see the variable and to accept the number from user, P to store the square of the number. Now D to extract each digit of the number and S to store the sum of each digit of the square of the number. Suppose our input N is 9. So first we will store the square of N, that is 81. See in the working, p equal to 9 into 9, that is 81. In the beginning s is 0, that will store the sum of digits. Now same do while loop I have used just like the previous code. So first we need to extract the digits d equal to p modulus 10. So in this case p is 81. 81 modulus 10, that is last digit is 1. Now s equal to s plus d. So s equal to previous value of s is 0, new value of d is 1, 0 plus 1, we will get 1. So last digit 1 is added in s. Now p equal to p by 10. 81 by 10, it will remove the last digit, so p will become 8. Now this loop will run till the value of p is more than 0 or p is not equal to 0. 8 is greater than 0, so once more the loop will run. This time d equal to 8 modulus 10, that will become 8. Now s equal to s plus d. Previous value of s we will take from previous step, that is 1 here. So in the previous value of s, new value of d is getting added, so 1 plus 8 will become 9. Now p equal to 8 by 10, that will become 0, and 0 more than 0 is false, so loop terminates. Since the number was having 2 digits, that is why the loop is running only 2 times. First time it will extract the last digit, that is 1. Second time it will extract first digit, that is 8. Now after adding both the digits 1 and 8, we will get 9. Now we have to compare sum with original number. So here the logic is, if s is matching with n, so in this case s is 9, n is also 9, so matching. So we will get a message, n is a neon number, means 9 is a neon number. If not matching, then it will display it is not a neon number. Now we will see the result. Suppose we are checking for 7. 7 is not a neon number. 8 is not a neon number. 9 is a neon number. So we have covered some programs related with numbers. Since there are many numbers, all programs cannot be covered in one video. So in next video I would like to cover some more programs related with numbers. Till then, take care and revise all the things that I have explained. Thank you.